Hey guys, I'm Kevin Kuhn, and this is my business partner, Hunter Hatch. So we actually have Plot Profit Academy. So this is actually our first podcast. Obviously, we've done a lot of short videos and just wanted to kind of go into our story and kind of why we started Plot Profit Academy and all the good stuff.
Exactly. So let's get right into it, guys. Okay. So for today, we just have a couple questions that we know that a lot of people have been asking us, that we know that a lot of people have been writing comments about so we just want to kind of go through our origin, how we got into land, and a couple of other exciting things so that hopefully you can get a lot of value from this podcast. We kind of want this to be where you can watch this podcast with all these new episodes that we're going to come out with so that you can kind of get an idea of who we are and how to land flip, especially for those that are coming from the house wholesaling background. That's exactly who we're going to be speaking to, guys, because Kevin, he'll get into his story, but that's where he started from. So just the first question to get this started off is, I could just act as the podcaster for this and we kind of flip flop a little bit, Kevin. What did your life actually look like before you made your first land deal, like day to day? What were you doing before you got into doing land, pretty much?
So basically for 5 years, I did house flipping, house wholesaling. I did I think over 100 house deals, honestly. And my day-to-day it was a grind. I would have 50, 60 follow-ups a day. The competition was nuts. I would call someone like a seller and three other people would be calling them that same day. So it was brutal, honestly. And why I got into land, we just happened to do one land deal. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much simpler, so much easier. Like a lot of the headaches, like contractors, is there a tenant in the house? Like what's the repair costs? All these kind of things that you go through when you're in houses, I didn't have to do. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get out of this. I wish I would have found this sooner. So that's what it looked like before I got into land.
That makes sense. Okay. And I mean, that's probably where a lot of people are that are watching this, exactly in that same exact position. For me, I came from a little bit different of a background. I was actually dead end 9 to 5 job where I was just doing it was this random solar company where I was just there and I wasn't doing the sales for it. I had done sales previously at a different job, not for solar, for a window company, very random. And then I was at this other job, just day to day, what it looked like for me. I was at a 9 to 5, just basically creating these like 3D maps for the proposals they were sending out to people that they were trying to sell solar to. I won't bore you with the details because it was very, very boring. I hated it so much. I wanted to figure out how to get out of it. And that was pretty much my day to day. I was that. And I was also I was in school as well, kind of not knowing what I was going to school for. So kind of just my day to day was just I felt really demotivated, really, really stressed out because like, I know this isn't what I want to do long term. I don't want to be being at this, whether it's this job or another dead end job. I want to do something that could actually, if I want to retire early, I wanted to figure out something. And so day to day, what I was doing is I was doing that during the day, but then whenever I had time, I was looking for what else can I be doing to get out of this? I don't want to go to school because I just don't even know what I'm doing here. I wanted to figure out what I can do. And so that's kind of what my day to day was looking like beforehand. So it kind of came from a little different of backgrounds, but yeah, I mean, the other question that I wanted to ask too is, what was the moment you realized your old way of making money, so house wholesaling, wasn't going to cut it anymore?
Well, so my situation is I actually didn't own the house wholesaling or like the investing company. I basically started off like at the start of it, at the first 5 years of like cold calling, follow up, and then I ran the entire company for the investor. So I was getting paid just a salary, but I was working like crazy. And it just got more competition, more brutal, more grinding. Like I was starting to dread like Sunday night. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to work tomorrow. And I was actually doing stuff on the weekends too. So like one, my money was capped, but also it was just so competitive and it just was like it was pretty easy the first couple of years and then slowly got harder and harder and more competition. And we had to have more cold callers, more texters, had to follow up more. So that's when, like I said, we did that one land deal and I'm like, oh my gosh, land's where it's at. And that's when I decided to start my own land business. Obviously push forward now. I'm almost 5 years into doing land, multiple 6 figures. So, and my day to day is like, there's no stress at all, honestly, compared to like what it was like in houses. So that's where I was at. How about you, Hunter?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just knew it from day one. I knew that I didn't want to be doing what I was doing, and I was trying to figure out anything. And so I was looking into starting a YouTube channel where I was trying to sell stuff. I was trying to looking to just whatever. Like I said, I was doing some sales beforehand. I was doing door-to-door sales. I was just trying to find anything. I knew that my old way of making money, which is like, working at that 9 to 5 at the time, was just not going to cut it. It wasn't that I wasn't making any money. It was just I knew that I wasn't going to want to do this long term, and I couldn't handle it anymore. So I was just trying to figure out something, and it pretty much wasn't until my brother was the one that actually brought up land flipping to me. I hadn't ever done anything with real estate, anything like that. He was just talking to me, and I was just trying to figure out what this was all about. So I was looking it up. There wasn't too much information online about it, but from the couple people I could find, there's this one place in particular that talked about, how much money he was making with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I want. I just need something that can make me so I can get out of my day to day, because I don't want to be doing what I'm doing every single day. Yeah. And I kind of never looked back, kind of started this business. And yeah, like you, we both, for everybody out there, me and Kevin didn't start our businesses together. We actually started them separately. Our own land flipping businesses, same thing, made multiple six figures. And it's, day to day, so much better, so much less stress, knowing that I have enough money to be kind of going forward in my life and have a clear picture for kind of reach my goals in the future as well. So,
yeah, exactly. And then,
exactly.
So the last straw for me, honestly, with wholesaling and houses in general, it wasn't really a last straw. It just got to be like such of a grind and brutal every day that I was just like, because I thought land, I knew there was something there. And once we did that one deal that literally we made over $100,000, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so much easier. So that was kind of the deal that kind of was like, okay, I need to literally start my own land business. But obviously figuring out all the details of getting into land, I mean, whether course, community, that was the next kind of part for me. Hunter, what did your family think about you dropping out when you?
Yeah, honestly, it's funny. I feel like most families would have been pretty scared or been like, what are you doing? Like, you shouldn't do that. Funny thing is, my family was pretty supportive just because I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad, I grew up in California for most of my life and lived in Arizona for a while as well. He owned probably 4 businesses. So he's kind of like a serial entrepreneur. My oldest brother, he runs a couple companies. My next brother, every single one of my brothers in the family, because we have 7 kids, they're all entrepreneurs. So they kind of all just got it. Most of them had gone to college and stuff like that. But when I was in college, I was taking this entrepreneurship class, actually, I remember. And what they would do is every week they'd bring in a new entrepreneur, really, really big entrepreneurs that were like worth hundreds of millions, if not some of them were worth like $1 billion or more. And they pretty much interviewed them. I remember I was at school and I was like, I just kept hearing their stories every week. And it was my favorite class that I was in. And I was like, gosh, this is what I want to do. Like that. Yeah. I just knew that this is what I wanted to do in the first place. I was like, why am I even in school? I'm like spending thousands of dollars to learn about earth science that I already had learned about. Like, it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. This is so stupid. And so I was just kind of like, it just made logical sense to me. Or I was like, I can go back to school if I really want to, but I was like, I just want to go all in on one of these things. And kind of just with the background of my family, and then also just hearing these other people that I was hearing the story week after week, I was like, I'm just gonna go after it. And so yeah, they're actually pretty supportive. They kind of trusted me, and so that was definitely helpful. But yeah.
Cool.
But yeah.
And then let's kind of talk about how we met and kind of how that all started too. Hunter, if you want to start that off.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of how me and Kevin met. So I was in a course before this, a course in community, where I was trying to network with people, trying to understand how this whole process worked. I went over to this company and I got a credit card, and I put it all on this credit card. I forgot how much money it was. It was over $1,000 on this credit card, which was a ton of money for me back then. I was like, I just need to learn how this works. Felt like it taught me a decent amount, but I didn't feel like I had everything figured out. And so I had a couple of questions that weren't getting answered. And me and Kevin we started direct messaging with each other, and he was kind of helping me figure out how to pitch something that we call the double close, that, it's another way of being able to buy and sell pieces of land. And I was like, how do I pitch this to people? I saw that Kevin inside the community was a person that people had talked about. And I was like, I'll just reach out to him and ask him about it. He helped me, gave me some pointers, and we just went back and forth for a couple of months. And then I just remember, and you could correct me on any of the story if I'm saying it incorrectly, but I just remember one time we were just talking and I was like, dude, it was like evidenced by me reaching out to him and him asking me questions. I was asking him questions. I was like, the course that we were in, it didn't teach us everything we needed to, and nobody was answering our questions and all these things. Like, why don't we just create our own course and community that would actually help people and would actually teach them exactly what they would need to do A to Z, just make it way, way better than any of the other courses or communities me and him had been in, and just make it to where it actually worked. And we were, yeah, why don't we do that? And so we spent the next like 8-9 months working on Plot Profit Academy, and you can add whatever you want to that.
Yeah, yeah. I think we both had that same kind of mindset of we saw all these courses, and obviously we were in the same course and the modules were out of date, and obviously the market's always changing, whether it's houses or land. Like you always have to be changing and marketing differently, trying different things, and they weren't updating the modules. And then like kind of what Hunter said is like we'd have questions and you just have to network with people to figure stuff out. And like the double closing, like that was like I literally had to figure that out on my own, and I had to take stuff from I did in houses. But yeah, I think the big reason why we started Profit Academy, one, obviously we were like helping people, but two, like the support. Like when you're starting a business, especially, I mean, we're focused mostly with people with doing houses now, coming over to land. You've got a basic fundamental, especially if you're doing houses, like you know how to talk to sellers, but going from houses to land, there's still a knowledge gap. You're going to have questions and you need someone to answer those questions. Otherwise you get stuck right away, and then it turns into a week, 2 weeks, month, 6 months, and you're selling houses, you're doing your 9-to-5 job along with houses, and it's just kind of a brutal grind. So I think the support is one thing we really wanted, and obviously up to date modules like new thinking, AI, all the new stuff that's going on. So
Yeah, exactly. I think also the other stuff was just pretty broad and pretty kind of all out there, that it was kind of like assuming you knew a lot of stuff. It felt like some of the time, or like it was just kind of like overview. We kind of wanted to be like, okay, if we can just focus on one specific kind of people that we understand. So houses, I came from not understanding anything, so I understand kind of anybody that would join the course.
Yeah.
You understand house people that would be coming over from house wholesaling. So why don't we just focus only on house wholesalers? If we build this specifically around house wholesalers, it would be able to help them and actually be able to help a specific kind of person instead of just trying to capture everybody like most every single one of these things are doing as well. So I think that's another reason why we kind of wanted to do that, so that we could help other people, and a specific avatar of a person that would actually be able to answer all their questions, help them get to where they need to go, instead of trying to just throw every single person we could possibly get into a pipeline. So, but yeah. Okay. Another question for you. When you close your first deal, what did you do right after? Like what happened?
When I remember, yeah, because so I started the business, and then that first check hit my bank account, and I'm like, okay, let's just do as many of these as possible. This was not hard. It was very easy. And yeah, my wife was like, okay, this actually works. At first, she was like, sure, do you know what you're really doing here? And I'm like, I know this is going to work if I work hard. And obviously, I've got a lot of, especially coming from houses. So guys, like obviously, if you're in houses already, like you know a lot of the skills, like talking to people, following up, those kind of things. So land's going to seem really easy. Honestly, that's what it felt to me, like coming from houses to land. But how about you, Hunter, when you first got paid?
Yeah, I remember my wife, it was a similar thing where like we had just gotten married, and she was stressing out about financial stuff and all these things, and I was too. And she was like, if you don't get like a deal at this date, then we just need to figure something else out. And I was like, I need to figure this out because I want this to work. I know it'll work. Kind of the same thing that you're saying. And I remember literally, I think it was either on that day that the cutoff was, or it was like a day before. It was crazy. Like literally, it was like within a day, like the first deal went through and we got paid. And I was like, it was like the skin of my teeth. I figured it, and like it worked. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was so pumped. And she was like, okay, cool. And she was like really supportive. It was just, she was like, we need to like make this work. And so we like went through and like wrote down, I remember I had like a really big piece of paper, and I was like, okay, once we get this many deals, let's like do this, just to kind of like motivate us. And I was like, once we get 3 deals, let's this, once we get 5 deals, once we get 8 deals. And so for that first deal, I just remember we went to this Japanese restaurant, and like, just like, usually I'm just like really, really, I don't spend a lot of money when I go out to eat, or I didn't spend a lot of money when I went out to eat. I was always like mindful of my money. I remember we just like for us, it was a ton of money, but we spent at the time it was a ton of money. We spent like $100 when we went out and ate, and I was just like so excited. I was like, dude, we just got our first deal. That was awesome. I was pumped out of my mind though. But yeah, okay. I feel like we've already answered this a little bit, but how is Plot Profit Academy different from other educational courses?
Yeah, I think the big thing is obviously the modules are up to date. We're always adding new things. We're literally going to be adding more and more as we go. And we're focused on people that are in houses coming to land. So it's totally different than everyone else. The other big thing is what me and Hunter have seen is like, and we've had people obviously come to our course that like, hey, I paid all this money and then no one helped me out. Like when I had questions, and we see that like that's a reoccurring thing, it feels like. So like, the support, that's the biggest thing of like you being successful or not being successful is the support. So I would say those are some of the things. Hunter, anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much really good. And then as far as the modules as well, like just a little anecdotal story. One of the people in our course, Sebastian, he reached out and he was confused about a certain part in the course. And he was like, so how does this, I don't remember exactly what he was asking about. It was like a couple months ago, but he was asking about something with how to list a property, or I forgot what it was, but he was like, how does this work? And we're like, oh, okay, maybe there was a little bit of a gap in there that it didn't make sense for somebody first starting out, because as me and Kevin, when you are running a business, you think more high level, it's hard to remember where someone was when they first started. So we literally went in, created a whole new video, put it into the course. Within 24 hours he watched it and he understood how to continue, so he didn't have to have a stopgap in there. Whereas before, if we asked somebody else to have something like that from the other courses and communities we were in, no way, they would have looked at us funny and told, yeah, there's no way. And so we would have never even gotten a response. So I just gave that anecdotal story to show that we're here to keep it updated, and we're only working with people that are transitioning out of house wholesaling. Obviously, I didn't do house wholesaling beforehand, but I've been in land now for about 3 years, running a successful 6+ figure land business. And so we just wanted to work with someone that we knew. The reason why I'm okay even working with house wholesalers, even though I wasn't a house wholesaler beforehand, is because Kevin, he understands it because that's where he was at. And also, I just want to work with people that I know are going to be motivated. And if people that are coming from houses or anything like Kevin, I know they're going to be successful, because we've worked with some people in the past that have just kind of wanted to get into it and thought this just was a get rich quick scheme, or just didn't really want to put any effort in. But if you are a house wholesaler, this is going to be very, very, very simple. From where it seems like, from everything that Kevin has told me, it sounds like a nightmare being in houses. So this is just going to feel like a cakewalk. So that's why I think it puts us apart, because we just use your skills that you already have to be able to parlay them into something that you don't have to restart from. You'll be already way further ahead than anybody else getting into this.
Yeah. And then was there ever a point that you felt like it might not work doing land?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I always felt like it was going to work, but there's always doubt in your mind before you see the actual physical manifestation of it. There's always going to be a doubt. It's like, is this going to work? Especially when my wife gave me that kind of deadline of we need to get this figured out. I was like, gosh, I need to get this figured out. I remember I was stressing out. That's why I was trying to, get in contact with anybody I could, talk with Kevin. Yeah. So I definitely felt that way. And I feel like that's pretty normal. But the nice thing is with this, it's not a very long burn where you're gonna have to wait a year for the payoff. It's gonna take at most a couple of months, maybe 60 to 90 days that you're gonna be waiting. If you're putting in the effort 100%, you're gonna be able to get there. So there's always gonna be doubt, but I think if you just believe and keep going forward, just one by one, it's going to be like just putting in the effort that you can and just controlling the stuff you can control, you'll get to where you need to go.
Yeah. And I realized too, coming from houses to land is one, obviously everything's remote. We're not seeing any of these pieces of land. You can literally do everything from a laptop, phone. You don't need much. Obviously, we go through, teach you everything in the course that you need. But yeah, I didn't really, not to sound arrogant, but I never really thought it wasn't going to work. I think just because I came from houses, I was like, if I can do houses, I can do land. And I think especially people that we're talking to today, guys, if you're doing houses, you can definitely do land, and you can do it at a high level, because I know how competitive it is. Like land is nothing like that. So that's kind of why we're excited to really work with people that we already know are motivated, because we want everyone to succeed, but we need the right person to succeed. That makes sense.
Exactly. No, I agree. Just want people that we know are going to actually, it pretty much kind of the main reason we wanted to work with these kind of people is because we know that if you are in houses, we already know that you know how to grind in a business, especially in a real estate business. And so this, you can just transfer over to this and you will kill it. And so
Yeah.
we just want those kind of people in here so that we can really help that specific person become successful. And we know that we can. But yeah, what made land feel different from other things that you had previously done or previously looked at?
From just for like houses wise, honestly, it was easier. So like I said, if you're in houses now and you come to land, you're going to think this is, obviously there's still a learning curve and there's things you have to learn, but talking to leads, you're not, the competition's not what it's like in houses. So that's going to be the cool thing. And obviously I've done stuff before I got into real estate. So it's nice having your own business that the sky's the limit. I can make as much money as I want to make. Obviously in jobs before I got into real estate, I had a salary or I was capped. I could work 100 hours. I'm still going to make this amount. That's the cool thing about land, especially land over houses, is you can make $1 million if you want to. You know what I mean? That's the crazy part about it. It's up to you what you want to make. So.
Exactly. And for me, I feel like that's kind of how I felt too, as I didn't feel like it could be capped. I didn't feel like it was something that I had to go in. Didn't feel like somebody else was telling me how much I can make, what I can do, what I can't do, when I can take off work, and I have to be at a certain place at a certain time. All that stuff, all the perks that come with being an entrepreneur, I feel like even double, because being an entrepreneur, a lot of times if you have a service-based business, all those kind of things, sometimes you have to be physically somewhere. With this, it's just instantly, what I loved about it is instantly I got the location freedom without even having to do anything else. You instantly get the location freedom because you can be anywhere doing this business because it's a virtual business. And the time freedom was also amazing, being able to just take off time to be able to do whatever I want, pretty much create my entire schedule. It just felt different than other businesses because it felt real and tangible, that I could actually get to where I wanted to go. And that's why I dropped everything and went into it when I first started.
Yeah.
But okay, let's see this here. What was the first thing you think we got wrong when we started Profit Academy?
I would say maybe being too broad with the people,
Yeah.
because we really want people that are like kind of like us, are go-getters and want a successful business. And unfortunately, not everyone's like that. I mean, some people are like, oh, I'm just going to start a business and make $1 million. Well, it still takes work and you still have to do stuff. And whether it's like watching videos or asking questions, obviously we're going to be there to answer them for you, but you still have to take initiative. So I think maybe just being a little broad at when we first started.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is I think that we were too broad because I think we thought, okay, everybody's like us, and if everybody's like us, then they're just gonna go out and get these deals. But we realized that not everybody is. Maybe me and Kevin are just weird, but we just kind of just go out and whenever we needed it, if we needed to get it done, we got it done. And like, how can we find that kind of a person and really help them get to the next level? And that's what I think that's kind of was our biggest mistake at the beginning, but we aren't doing that anymore. So I think that's awesome. Is there something about our story or your story or my story that we usually don't talk about publicly that you can think of that we can bring up?
Something I don't normally talk about. I guess I talk about it some, but I think just the freedom. You have so much, kind of like what Hunter said. I have 2 young kids, so like I literally get to go to soccer with them. I get to go to the gym every day or work out, or your schedule literally. I think we do talk about it some, but they don't realize how much time freedom you have. Like land it's not really 8 hours a day job. You can literally work it for a couple hours a day and be very successful. So I probably do talk about that, but that was just something that I don't think we talk about enough, maybe something. What about you, Hunter?
Yeah, something that I don't really talk about a lot is that my wife has a decent amount of health struggles. And I think that's another reason why I'm so grateful that I got into land, because she has a lot of health struggles. She doesn't really know what's going on, and we're trying to help her out. And she needs a little bit more help. And so being able to work around that, being able to go with her to any doctor's appointments, being able to be there for her and help her out I would not have been able to do that. I don't know what the heck I would have done, honestly, if I didn't have land, because I wouldn't be able to be here for when she needs me. And so that's another huge thing that's just with that time freedom stuff that has allowed me to actually do that I don't usually talk about, honestly. But
and
yeah.
then what about, what do you wish someone would have told you on day one getting into land?
Someone I wish they would have told me on day one. I wish someone would have told me that there's different ways to, because when I first started, I thought that the only way to get into land was basically doing mail.
Yeah.
I did, and I started out with mail. I actually still in the business, it still is going off of mail, but I feel like if I would have started out with something besides mail, it would have given me a kind of a boost. Just because with mail, it's great. It's really passive, and you don't really have to exercise many of your other muscles that you'll have to with texting or cold calling, because they're already vetted, which is nice. It just costs a little more to get those leads and those deals. So I wish that I was told that, hey, start out with cold calling or texting when you first get into it, because then you'll have to be a lot more engaged, really get into it and get to the nitty gritty of everything. Because then and then you could add on all this stuff. But I wish I wouldn't have started with mail, honestly.
Yeah, no, I honestly, that's a really good one. And guys, especially if you're in houses now, like you're probably not doing mail. Like we never did mail. We just did texting and cold calling. So like nothing's really going to change. And obviously we teach all the different marketing channels, but like it's going to be pretty similar to what you're doing now. It's just the conversation's going to be a little bit different. And then the process will be a little bit different. But and then obviously the competition is going to be a lot less. And but yeah, I think that's a good one. I would probably agree with that. That's one that I wouldn't have. I wish I wouldn't have started off with mail and did texting or cold calling too. So
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And okay, let's get this last question. Why do you, or like we, but you specifically, actually care if other people succeed at this? What is the real answer for this? Like, why do you care? Why do I care?
yeah, I think obviously me and Hunter, we've been doing it 3 years for him, 5 years for me. I've, especially in that community we were in, I helped out a ton of people. I just keep seeing people succeed. I know what it was like feeling like financially tight with money and time too. And I guess just helping people succeed and having their own freedom, because it's just, you don't want to go through life working for someone else and not having that financial freedom of, hey, I can make 50,000 or I can make $1 million or whatever makes you happy. But I think just seeing people get excited about getting deals and learning the process and just helping them out, because that's what we needed like when we first got started. So that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, exactly. It is. I feel similarly. I think something else that I think about too is how we set up the business. Is obviously you start a business to make money as well, and so one of the things that I think I'm excited about is for other people to be making money, and then that makes us in turn, we set up this business in a way that if another person is successful, then we become more successful. And so that's why we're excited, because we know how to help other people become successful, which is only going to make us more successful, because we could have set it up in a way where that wasn't the case. But that's how we deliberately intentionally decided to make the business like that, so that other people will be more successful. If they're successful, they'll be able to see, hey, this actually works. This is actually good. Other people see their success, and then it'll just be a virtuous cycle of us being able to help other people make more money. In turn, they'll help us make more money. And so that's, I think, why I'm excited, because we do know how to help other people be successful. We know how to make this specific avatar of a person. We know how to make people starting from houses that want to transition it and use their same exact skills, but in a better market where they basically can just 2, 3, 4, 5x their income without much more effort. And so we know that they're going to be successful if they just hop into this with both feet, which we know that people that are in house are going to do. And so that's why I think I'm excited about starting.
And I think, guys, what you'll learn too, with especially as we're doing more and more podcasts, genuinely, Hunter and me helping people and supporting people. And unfortunately, a lot of like courses and communities aren't really like that. It's give me your money and then you don't hear from us again. Like that's our biggest thing, is like we actually like helping people be successful, get a successful business, get out of your 9-to-5 job or whatever situation you're in, you're looking for, that you're going to find out that like we're actually here to help you. And that's what you need in a course and community. So that's why we did this whole thing. You know, I mean, it's not to become billionaires. It's to help people out, be successful, start their own business, and learn the way of land. So
Exactly. I think that's great. And is there any other questions that you think that we would want to answer before we close out here?
I think those are the main ones, honestly. Nothing that I can think of. I would just say, yeah, guys, if you're in houses now and are, hey, I've heard about land, or maybe even you dabbled in it a little bit, like definitely check us out. We're definitely here to help more people get out of houses, get into land. I wish I would have done it 5 years sooner. I mean, I could have been at even a different place I am now, but yeah, I think you're at the right place and we're just going to be given more and more knowledge. So.
Exactly. Keep us saved, keep us bookmarks. We'd love to keep helping you out and give you all the value that you can get as you're making this switch. But yeah, until next time, we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you soon, and have a great rest of your day.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Okay.